Oh, hold on. I'm not ready yet. I'm just trying to work this iPhone. Trying to get voice memo.
It's not that hard, mate. It's just in the folder called Utilities.
Oh, it's annoying just searching. Just trying to get the searching up.
Well, don't search for it. Go to the folder called Utilities and it's there.
I'm recording now.
Probably on the second page.
Yeah, probably.
We're watching the Fallout TV series, episode by episode. Each episode will have spoilers for its relevant episode number. There will be no spoilers for later episodes.
So, Josh, Fallout TV series. We have watched episode 5, and we spend more time with Lucy and as well as Maximus. Well, we start off with Maximus.
And Thaddeus.
Yes.
Squire.
And we...
Quite an awkward scene.
Yeah, so it pretty much... It wasn't the best episode, in my opinion, but it did some silly stuff where the characters were doing like funny stuff where Maximus reveals to his squire that he is not Knight Titus. He is in fact Maximus, who's in this body armor suit.
Yeah, and
he kind of like, I was thinking in my head, why are you doing this? Like he thought he could trust him because he basically He basically.
Do you know what? It's right. So they were getting along just fine. They got their head, and they're kind of like they're quite happy with their success. And then Thaddeus is like, "Oh, you need to brand me. I want you to brand me." So he brands Knight Titus's T onto his back. And if at any point there was a time to tell him who you are, that was it. Not 2 minutes later after you branded him with someone else's branding. And the thing is, like, Maximus without the power armor suit, he just has no confidence. And it's as soon as he opens it up, you can see he's just like a bumbling mess. He's like, "Oh no, we just gotta it's okay, we just gotta get our story straight. That's all we gotta do." And it's like, you could have actually just told Thaddeus what happened. The power armor suit is clearly damaged. You could have been like, the guy got killed by a bear. I tried to save him, but he died to his injuries. Like there is the whole situation of the guy dying was completely plausible. He's just thinking into it way too much. But anyway, so.
Well, it kind of like, he didn't explain it very well to the guy, and it seemed like even if he gave that story, he would just get killed anyway from the Brotherhood, because he should have really just reported what happened instead of just.
Yes, yeah. And this is the thing. He's dug a grave for himself, really.
Yeah. I just don't see why. Yeah, like you say, he branded him because the guy's like, "Yeah, come on, brand me." And I thought the way they were doing it, because he's like, "Yeah, brand me," and I was like, "Where's this come from?" And I was thinking, does the story need him to? Because then once he brands him, he basically says, "Yeah, you can tell me anything about your deepest, darkest secrets and all this." And I was thinking, "Oh, okay. Is this how they're going to get around the fact that it is instead of Titus, it's Maximus inside the suit?" And no, the guy just says, "Oh no, you're gonna get it, and you're gonna die. The Brotherhood are gonna kill you."
Well, of course, because he was branded with Knight Titus's brand, not with Maximus's. So, I get where you're coming from, but because he has been falsely branded, he's just like, "Yeah, no, piss. That means nothing to me. You're not." And the thing is, right? Don't forget, like the whole time they've been together, he's been essentially lied to. In the first instance, like when he was told to climb up the tree, and in that bit where Maximus demanded him to tell him something bad about Maximus, essentially, like that's a pretty big trust thing. That's been abuse of trust. If Maximus had been better the entire time, there may have been an opportunity for that to have gone better. But the way that his behaviour to the Squire has been, I'm not surprised at all by how it went. So Thaddeus tried to leave, or they tried to. I don't know exactly what he was trying to do. I think Maximus was basically just going to kill him? Pretty much. He was trying to. Well, firstly, he was trying to knock him out or something, like trying to get him, and then he kind of got underneath. And he's like, "Stay still," and he managed to
crushed his leg.
Yeah, crushed his foot and lower leg, I think. And then Thaddeus manages to remove the power core, the fusion core.
Which was quite easy.
So everything, these power suits are so like if someone could just take out. Well, no, because Thaddeus had a key. He had some kind of tool or a key to get it out. So maybe it can't be removed by anyone, but you need a special tool. And yeah, you might be able to do it with a screwdriver. But
yeah, but like we said in the previous episodes, like these kinds of people, you're not. They don't do close. It's not close combat. It's always long range with a minigun. You wouldn't expect someone to get that close to someone with the suit on.
I still think you should plan for it because sometimes those situations will happen.
I think there's no way of getting around it because it's so big for a suit. Like he was struggling. He got behind him and he was struggling just to turn around and grab him. It took like 2 seconds for him just to get aligned in a position where he could try and do some damage to him. But then he went underneath him. So yeah, there is a limitation on movability, but that's expected.
Yeah, but they've got that manual release thing on the back, and it's like that shouldn't be like they shouldn't be able to undo that and force the knights out of the suit. Like there should be some kind of locks in place. Now, like I said, the Squire did use a tool to remove the fusion core, so actually maybe there is something there, and they did actually show it before it happened. Like they showed that it was a blade or something, so it could be done with any blade. But it wasn't just simply yanking it out. There was something that needed to be done first. But interesting that he was then trapped inside the suit and he can't release himself from the suit. He's essentially a prisoner without any power at all.
Yeah, which is... There must be like a reserve, like a little bit of power in there. It's like a car. Think of it as a car. Like the car has like a little bit of functionality with no power not being turned on, but yeah.
And the thing is, in Fallout 4, if you don't have a fusion core in the suit, you can still move, but it uses a lot more energy and you move very slowly. And I think it can harm you if you move for too much or something like that. They've decided that once there's no a fusion core in the power suit, that it is completely dead and someone else has to help the knights out of the suit. Fortunately, and we don't know how long it's taken, but fortunately, Lucy comes along just as he's being attacked by 3 or 4 rad roaches, which would be a horrific way to go inside a power armor suit, knowing that you're eventually going to lose an arm or a face or a foot to these rad roaches and they're going to eat you up from the inside. But, such is the way of the wasteland.
The thing is about how much air did he have? Because when he eventually... Because what did she do? She did something, didn't she?
So it's a completely sealed suit. She appears and she's able to lift up his face mask from the front.
But he's gasping for air. It's like... So I'm thinking...
Yeah, so he's obviously... It's really hot in there because the cooling layer is gone, and I think they are hermetically sealed, so he's probably running out of oxygen slowly.
She's like, this is the first point within the series where she's like, hold on a minute, everyone else has been horrible to me, and Lucy decides, you know what, I think you could be a good guy, but I'm not too sure. But he says he's quite fortunate in a way because she's suffering from radiation poisoning, and she looks like she's going to faint. Well, he's telling her, you're going to faint, and then you're going to die, and I'm going to die as well because I'm going to be stuck in this suit. So what do you want to do? And he has some Radaway inside his suit that he can give her. So yeah, she does the smart thing in the end and trusts him. Like it could have been bad, but fortunately
it could have been. But they have already met. So yeah. I think that obviously helps.
Yeah, I think if he had another agenda in the story, then he might have stabbed her in the back somehow, if you know what I mean, which he might end up still doing in some way.
Could do.
So he
might do. Possibly.
He's not. They're not complete. I wouldn't say like they're completely like 100%. I trust you because this guy has his own motive, and they come to like an agreement, don't they?
He still lies to her.
Yeah,
he still says that his name is Knight Titus, not Maximus, and it's just one of those things where it's like, again, you're setting yourself up for failure. Like, she's literally just spoken about how she can't trust people, and you're not giving your real name because you think that you need to project some kind of power. Or demand some respect. Like if she thinks you're not Knight Titus, like she probably doesn't. She doesn't. I know he probably doesn't know this, but she probably doesn't understand how the Brotherhood of Steel works. So if he just said his name was Maximus and said nothing else, she'd have been fine. Like, she wouldn't have questioned it. So. But then, later on he does say, like, his squire has taken something of great importance to the Brotherhood, so he's still playing into that kind of thing later on. We see that Lucy seems to know about the T-60 power armor suit. She's done her research. She's kind of oogling over it.
Well, before the war.
Yes, yeah, because they are pre-war machines. But she's kind of looking at it in the way some people look at classic cars or really expensive cars or something. So, and then I think that's when she passes out, isn't it?
Yeah, and he manages to give her the rat away, and she comes to, and then they start discussing the agreement in terms of, I have a tracker on the head. If you help me get the head, I can help you get the head, but then you can give me, because she does, like you said, like she's been discussing the power armor. So if you guys have got loads of these power armors, you can give me a few of your men to help me get my dad, which he has no say of doing. So he's agreeing to something.
No.
Which he doesn't have the authority to give.
It's one of those things, yeah. Because initially he says no, because obviously he's unsure, because he's not even part of the Brotherhood of Steel. I think there's a part of him that knows, like, he can't fulfill his end of the bargain because he's not part of the Brotherhood of Steel. But he could have just said, look, I don't have the power to grant that wish, and all I can do is ask the elders to do it. I can't, like, make them do it. Like, there's no way I can actually guarantee that I can fulfill this. All I can do is try my best. Like, he could have come up with some bullshit spiel like that.
Well,
and that might have made it better, but he didn't even do that.
Well, the thing is, like, you got to think though, like, if you was in that position and someone tells you that they have a tracker on the head and that's what you need as your goal to give to the Brotherhood, you're going to just say anything that she's willing to, like, say, yeah, okay.
But he did say no. He did try and back out of it a little bit, though, didn't he?
He hesitated because he's thinking, should I do this or should I not? There's two things probably going in his head. Probably the first thing that came in his head is, like, can I actually get this deal together, and would they accept that?
Yeah, and it's like the web of lies is just getting deeper and deeper.
Number two is this, like, in the previous episodes we see, like, he actually kind of finds this girl interesting, and it seems like he likes this girl. So he's thinking, should I rub her the wrong way, or, backstab her, or? But after that, because she keeps pursuing the agreement, he's like, okay, yeah, we'll do it then. And then they shake on it. So them two go off into the wasteland, pursuing the head, which leads to that part on the bridge. We've seen that trust. There is still trust in the wasteland, but then she goes back to her old self again, where she's like, they're talking on the bridge and they're talking about the past, and she's like, give me a history of what's been happening for the last 200 years. And he's saying, oh, the war, the bombs came when I was just a baby. I was like, how is that even?
Yeah, so this is something that's interesting, and I think so. We've had the flashback in the first episode when we saw him, where he came out of a fridge and he saw a Brotherhood of Steel knight. Now, I just assumed he was in a village that was ransacked by some raiders or something. But in this episode, they're insinuating he was in the fridge because there was a bomb, and the bomb came down, and he hid in the fridge, or he was put inside the fridge to survive the bomb. So who set off the bomb? Yeah,
because there's a line about, she's saying, like, oh, does the Brotherhood tell your people that when you were born that the bomb went off just recently before you were born? So I don't know.
Yeah, like it's recent.
That's the thing. It's interesting
because he did seem confused about the 200 years, didn't he?
Yeah, it's interesting but the thing is, we know that Howard the Gaul has been around for 200 years. So we know that what Lucy is saying is correct, but the Brotherhood, Maximus, what he's saying is completely wrong. It's not recent. Because even if it was recent, there's no way that they could be walking around, because the radiation would be too much, and like the sky, there'll be like thunder, rain, like the rain would be completely radiated. I think there would be still radiation, maybe it would be like horrendous. Like you would just melt into, But yeah, it's not accurate.
So the question is like, what did he experience as a kid? Was it a nuclear bomb? Was it a conventional bomb? Or was it something completely different? Or was it something that he was told he experienced? Like he went through something and it was so traumatic that afterwards, whatever they told him he went through, he just believed it. So I think that's something we'll probably find out in the next few episodes.
The only thing I would say is like being in a fridge, especially a fridge that was made back in the 1950s and 60s, they had some sort of material in a casing that would protect you from like a nuclear explosion as well, in theory.
No, they won't. No, they don't. They don't. That's just a trope from Indiana
Well, there you
Jones.
go.
It's not actually real. It's not going to save you from a nuclear blast.
But in the TV and Hollywood space, it does.
And actually, in Fallout universe, it doesn't, because there is so in Fallout 4, there's a side mission where there is a kid in a fridge. And this kid has been in the fridge for 200 years, or however long Fallout 4 takes. I think it's like 2077 to 2187, I think, is Fallout 4. And the kid has been in the fridge since before the bombs fell, and he turned into a ghoul whilst he was inside the fridge. That just shows that the fridge doesn't, in the Fallout universe, the fridge doesn't stop radiation from going into the fridge. Especially over a period of 200 years.
Yeah, it's like, it is kind of stupid because
there's something not quite right about it. The question is there something not quite right about it within the TV show, or is it just a little bit of lazy writing?
Who knows? Like you say, it could be someone telling them this is what happened and this is how you got found and recruited into the Brotherhood of Steel. But I don't know. But I think that we should talk about what leads on with the bridge, where Lucy has gone back to her old traits of trusting people when Maximus is like...
She's not trusting them. She is just trying...
a different approach, which is not going to work. Which is definitely not going to work because, yeah, they're like, so they meet a man and a lady on the bridge, and they're like, oh, crap. So they both shout, are you armed? And they're like, no, we're not armed. And they're like, okay, well, we want to cross then. And then Maximus is just staring at them. And he's like, well, he's specifically saying to Lucy, give me the gun. And she's saying, well, why did you say we're unarmed when we're not? We are armed. And he's like, psh, psh, like, be quiet. and then they're like, why are you stalling? Why are you stalling? Oh, we're just taking our time. It's okay. We're coming. Just being careful. And eventually she's like, no, we're not gonna have a gun. And then she makes it her own situation where she's like, okay then, I want everyone to raise up their arms. Raise up your arms, and we're just gonna cross very slowly. So they start raising up their arms, and then all of them start just to cross each other. And then we have a good look at the two people, and they've got like green teeth, they've got scars all over their faces. And they look like...
I thought she had gold teeth.
Oh, was it gold?
I'm not saying they were. But I thought they were gold teeth. I thought they like she was a scavenger, because then she's looking at the Pip-Boy, and I was thinking, oh no, she wants to steal the Pip-Boy, sell it for parts, or sell it for caps, or sell it for drugs or something. So I was getting the impression that she was someone who scavenges like high value stuff, but actually it turns out it's something quite different.
So they end up pulling out a gun, and Maximus, I don't know how, but he manages to grab the gun off Lucy and shoot him before they manage to get a shot off, which I find a little bit hard because the gun was positioned right at the back of Lucy's belt, and he had to reach right behind.
At the back of her thigh. He's positioned in a way where he could have done that, given the holster that she was wearing. And this is one of those things where I found it less believable for her in the previous episode, just because she doesn't have that much experience. But he should have a lot more experience than she does, because he's had Brotherhood of Steel combat training, and he's grown up on the surface. So he should have a lot more experience than she has to do that kind of stuff. So I found that a little more believable than what happened. And she had the sort of like she'd hidden a gun around the back so that they couldn't see, but that doesn't mean that he couldn't to it, because he's that side of her that they were on the right side of each other for him to be able to access it easily.
I think it's just the fact that they had the guns out first, and then he was still reaching for the gun and pulls it out and shoots, and they still had a second to pull off a shot, and they didn't even get a shot off. Well, no, they did. They did actually.
They had shot him before he managed to shoot them.
Yeah, you're right.
So he took a shot to the shoulder.
So and that's more realistic, where it's like, because they got their guns out. They managed to get a shot off. One of them got shot off and grazed, well, he says he grazed his arm or his shoulder. And then he manages to get a few shots off and take him out. But we later find out that they are like the Haze, is it? The Haze? I think they're like from Fallout.
Fiends.
Fiends, sorry. So they're from Fallout New Vegas, I believe.
Okay, so because they did do a close up of her mouth and her face, and you could see she had like bloodshot eyes and everything. And I've not played New Vegas that much, so I didn't recognize them. So that's definitely, if you played the games, I'm guessing you'd have recognized them. But I thought she looked like a character from Fallout 4 who isn't a bad character. There's a character called Cricket, and she sells like really, really fancy weapons and ammo, like legendary, I think. And she just wanders around. She's a wandering trader, and she looks like that. She's kind of like really skinny, bloodshot eyes, talks a bit funny because she's probably on jet half the time. That's who I thought she looked like, but. I'm guessing they're in the right area if it's a character or a faction from New Vegas.
Well, they're like, they might be even being Fallout 3, but I definitely remember them being in Fallout New Vegas. They're not really, they're just a bunch of bandits, and you can see them cooking. And I've always wondered what they were cooking, but now in the show they're saying that they're actually cannibals.
And actually, I don't know, I think it was before this, isn't it? Before or after this, there was this whole conversation about the new Californian Republic. And then she has this... So they did She has this whole thing where she's like, but we were supposed to repopulate civilization, but they did it without us, because there was like 34,000 people in that town.
Yeah, so the reference in the NCR, in Fallout New Vegas, that's what they were referencing. So they must have got wiped out by the Legion then, because there was a big battle between the NCR and Legion. It looks like then in this version of Fallout, the Legion must have won, but they never mentioned Legion. But I would assume then that if they're gonna take stuff out from the game, then Legion would have beaten them then, because that was their main competition. But they were mostly based in New Vegas and other parts of the Waste. They weren't everywhere in the Wasteland.
No, but if they're part of the new Californian Waste Republic, I mean, they're in Los Angeles, and New Vegas is only next door. So they're 15 years apart. Fallout New Vegas is 2281, and the TV show is 2296.
Right. Well, there you go, Legion 1 then. So the way how you play the game is you have to side with the Legion then, according to what the TV show is telling you, the Curia. But so that, I think that pretty much covers everything for...
Well, not quite.
Lucia.
No, there's still a bit more, because after that is when they do actually come across the bomb that he survived. There was a crater in the ground.
Oh,
that is the one that he said he was in the fridge for. And then she notices that he's a bit woozy and he's suffering from his wound more than he should.
Gunshot.
And that's when she decides that they need to go get some medical supplies. They then come across this Hawthorne Medical Research Centre. This is one of the pictures that leaked, I think about 6 months to a year ago. I do remember seeing pictures of the exterior of this with the Hawthorne name and the van outside. So I was already slightly familiar with this when we arrived, but I didn't know what was about to happen. So she goes inside. I don't know why he's so scared of going inside these things. I know he knows what could be inside, but she seems to be braver than him sometimes. Maybe stupidly so, but whatever. So she goes in, He follows about 30 seconds or a minute later, and she's nowhere to be found. He then goes through, falls for the trap, gets tranquilized, and then falls down the trap floor. And then when we come back to them, they wake up, and it turns out they are inside another vault. I was half expecting this because there were some Vault Tech characters in the trailer that I saw that you didn't see, which I hadn't yet seen. Unfortunately for me, I knew at some point we were going to be going into another vault. So as soon as we got there and it didn't seem to be quite as realistic, it was like, okay, yeah, this is definitely, it was a Vault Tech facility. There was that fake medical supplies room. It's like, it was pretty obvious by that point.
Well, you wonder why they have that then. Why are they people
kidnapping people?
Unless it's part of
the experiment.
The vault and what it's designed for, trying to integrate people from the waste, maybe.
Possibly.
Try and see if they can...
it doesn't look like a bad vault from the 3 seconds of it we've seen, but I guess we'll find out in the next episodes what they are up to. So, speaking of vaults, we've had a lot more from Vault 33 this episode, and my goodness, hasn't it gone a bit strange?
Well, due to the fact that we now have a vote for who's actually going to be the overseer in Vault 33, I think, is his name Roger?
Norman.
Norman is investigating why... Well, he's firstly looking at records...
Well, hang on. So when we go back to the vault, Norman and Chet are still inside Vault 32. Like that's where we join them. Before they come back, they actually head to the entrance to Vault 31, just because Norman wants to, I guess, see if it's still sealed, see what's going on up there. There's a whole load of people trying to get through. There's like blow torches and all that kind of stuff. And there's a message on it, on the door or near the door, that says like, we know what you're up to, something along that line. They know there's something going on in Vault 31. And that's when they head back, and then we get back to the whole voting situation. So there's 3 people running for votes. It's Woody, Reg, and Betty. Betty has been an overseer before. The other 2 are 33 people who haven't been overseer before. And it seems to be that everyone has voted for Betty. Betty is from Vault 31, as has most other overseers. In fact, every other overseer has been from Vault 31. So has Steph, the pregnant lady. She's from Vault 31 as well. She was one of the people transferred over. Starting to wonder what's going on in Vault 31. I'm wondering if Vault 31 isn't a vault at all, or rather, that might actually be where there's scientists or something who are watching what's going on in Vault 31 and Vault 32. If they're able to send people over, not 100% sure. So we're starting to get strange vibes from Betty as she and Norman have conversations over the next few interactions. There's something over the cake, and I think he's trying to play chicken with her. Like, basically, he's trying to get her to kind of maybe slip, or she's trying to get him to slip into talking about Vault 32. Has something strange happened over there or not?
Talk about MASH. The MASH is a bit different.
Steph says the MASH is quite good over there. But that's all we're getting. We're not getting anything interesting out of anyone. Eventually, Vault 33 head into Vault 32. All together, they go in. And you can see Norman and Chet, and they're like, this ain't going to be good. There's dead bodies everywhere. There's blood. There's all these horrific messages. And they go in, and it's all very nice. It's all very pretty. The bodies are all gone. It's been rebuilt. I don't know if the crops are all back, but it didn't look so desolate in there as literally the previous 24 hours. And fortunately, that computer had been, with all the evidence on it, that computer had been smashed and demolished, by the raiders. Like couldn't have been anyone else. So who did this? Who restored the vault? Was it Betty on her own? Was it the people in Vault 31? And where did they get the resources from? Like, where did they get all these new toasters from? Where did they get these new curtains? Because they can't have just, they repainted the walls, but they can't have, cleaned the curtains. They've been bloodstained for 200 years.
Right.
They'd have to replace them or something. Like, where's all this manpower coming from?
Well, not 200 years.
I meant 2 years, not 200. But they're the bloodstained curtains, they're not coming out in a single wash. They've got to be, pretty deeply cleaned, or they've been replaced. So it's where are the resources coming to clean it up? What is going on? So what we learn is that over the next few weeks, some people from Vault 33 are going to be resettled into Vault 32. I don't know if they're going to be sealed.
Wasn't it a joint though? Wasn't it also people from Vault 31 that was going to be joining into Vault 32 as well? There's going to be a joint.
Possibly.
Because yeah, because that's the assumption I was.
But the people coming from Vault 31, are they Vault dwellers, or are they just the Vault tech scientists who are kind of watching over the vaults? Because the other thing is, like, if Vault 31 regular Vault dwellers, then seriously, who fixed Vault 32? Like, who went in there and tidied it up? Have they got robots to do it? Like, it can't have been Betty on her own. Like, there's Steph's answer. It was hard to gauge from her whether she was hiding something or whether she was truthful. There's something not quite right about the way she was saying what she was saying.
We know that Betty is not, well, potentially is not a good person, because it seems like she is lying in regards to...
I mean, a lot of overseers in the vaults have, they are actually shadier than the actual vault dwellers themselves. So that in itself shouldn't be a surprise. We've only just learnt that she has actually already been a Vault dweller, and she came from Vault 31, and that's when it starts to get a bit shady.
Well, the thing is, she gets asked about the mother. Did she die? And, well, how did she die? And was she buried with her pit boy and all that? And she's, what happens to Pit Boy? And she said, it got buried with her, yeah. But it's such a random question to just ask her.
No, it's not, because basically he's asking her a question, so he knows that Pit Boy, used by his mother or used by someone else, but he knows that Pit Boy was used to open the vault.
Exactly.
So
but to her.
Yeah, but the thing is, what the answer that she gives, whether is she lying to him or is she telling him a truthful answer? The answer she gives to him sounds like she's lying.
Exactly.
So that confirms to him that she's not a trustful person. It doesn't matter what the answer is, it in sense of, like, there's nothing he can do with the answer. What matters is what the answer is in telling him whether she is trustworthy or not. That's what it comes down to. Because he knows information that she doesn't know he knows.
Well, firstly, he starts saying, good cleanup. And then she's like, oh, yeah, it took a long bit of time, but it's finally done now, and it's all, how it should be. And then he just randomly goes into that question. If you're anybody, like, it's just such a random question in terms of the overseer's perspective. And like, I know that we want to. It's that question.
Oh, she is suspecting of him. She knows he knows.
Oh yeah, but he jumps straight into there. And he gives it straight away that he's telling her, like, I know you're up to no good. I know you're a bad person. So he's not doing a really good job of, like, convincing her. Like, he kind of should have, like...
But he is a Vault dweller. He should be able to trust her. So he's not actually doing or saying anything that is breaking any trust or any knowledge that he shouldn't have. Yes, but also... they are actually still quite innocent questions. Like, his dad has just been abducted. In that whole exchange, his mum was brought up. He's lost his sister. He's lost his entire family. He will actually be thinking about these kind of things. So it's not, even if he was completely innocent, it's not out of the world that he would come up with these kind of questions. But obviously, we know the context behind them.
Yeah, I just think to give himself a bit of, like, if someone came to me and asked that kind of question, I'd be like, why are you asking this question? Like, it's just such a, like, if they were talking for, like, say, like, a few minutes, and they were talking about his mother, and then like, say, like, a few questions after,
lead into it.
Yeah, exactly. Lead into it a little bit. He just come out with it, and it's just like, oh, like, if someone did that to me, I'd be thinking in my head, why is he asking this? Like, like, it's so obvious that he knows something's going on. And she already knows, of course, but he just made it completely obvious that he knows there's something going on. And it's like, it's just reinforced her doubts, or any doubts that she has about him not knowing anything.
Because, I mean, she knew something had happened since they came back from the vault. She met them as they came back in.
Yeah, and they gave some crappy answer about planting eggplants or something.
So it's like, if that interaction hadn't have happened, then Vault 32 might not have been cleaned up at this point it might have happened later on, or might never have happened, or something. I don't know.
I am going to say this then, and we can see if I'm correct or not, but I'm telling you right now that Lucy is in Vault 31 as well as Maximus.
Okay, I don't think so. They've travelled quite a long distance, and I think they're a medical research vault, and actually when we're talking about them taking sort of like they're abducting people, I think they might be actually testing medical stuff on people who stumble into their facility as like experiments. Now, and they're on medical gurneys as well at that point. So that vault clearly has a lot of medical things. I also know something that I'm not going to disclose, but there's something, if you've seen the trailer, there's something about the overseer for this vault that...
Don't say anything. You're ruining it. Scrap it out. Scrap that bit out.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, they've travelled so far, they're so clearly not back at Vault 33, and the vaults aren't that big that Vault 31 is going to be that far away. Like, they're right next to each other.
Yeah, but who knows what...
No, they're not that big. They've travelled for days.
Sometimes in the game you could travel, and if you don't look at your Pip-Boy for a while, sometimes you end up somewhere where you're like, I've already been about 20 minutes ago. That can happen when you're just walking around the wasteland. You get like, things happen to you, and then you're like, lose focus, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I'm back where... That would have been... You know what? That would be a good story, where she ends up back at the vault where she came out, and she's like, how the hell did I get back here? Like, that would have been funny. It would have been funny. But yeah, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. The main question is, Lucy's going to have to get out. Maximus as well, because he's got his duty to the Brotherhood, and Lucy wants to go and find her father. So they're going to have to get out of the vault somehow, and what's going to happen is they're going to get in this vault, and I would say that they might spend half an episode inside the vault and being told that you're part of the vault now. We're not going to open the vault door, anything like that.
Oh, and then they got to escape.
And then they got to somehow escape. And maybe they might make some friends, but who knows? That sounds like a lot of things is going to happen in half an episode. I don't know if they can manage that in half an episode, but they got to find a way to get out of that vault somehow. So yeah, we'll wait and see. I think that pretty much...
Yep, that's everything.
The only other thing is, if, like, the next episode... Because what has happened before is that we've had, like... The first few episodes, we've had all of the characters involved in the episode. And then the last episode was mainly Lucy and the Ghoul. Now this episode has been Lucy and Maximus.
Yeah.
What are they... Are they just going to completely scrap the Lucy and Maximus episode and turn attention to the Ghoul and what's going on with the Ghoul? Or are they going to go back to an all three?
I think... no, I think...
Because like I said in the preview show, it is quite hard to write so much stuff for 3 characters and fit it into one episode. And it...
Yeah, of course. But so, right, think about it, right? So the episode 4... It was Vault-Tec and Lucy and the Ghoul. Episode 5 was Vault-Tec and Lucy and Maximus. Now, in the next episode, like, we've not seen the Ghoul in this episode at all. Like, where is he? Like, is he still taking drugs in the Super Duper Mart, or is he chasing down the head somewhere? Don't know. The next episode, Lucy and Maximus are in Vault-Tec. It's going to be very confusing if they go from Vault-Tec with Lucy to Vault 33. So I think the next episode is going to be 2 storylines, and we're barely going to see 33. And what we're going to see is Lucy, and we're going to see the Ghoul. I think we're going to catch up with the Ghoul, because I think that's what they're doing. Is now we're in the thick of it. We're seeing 2 storylines, not 3. So it'll be Lucy and Maximus and the Ghoul. That's what I think, with maybe a little bit of Vault 33, like at the end or something, like one scene. But I don't. I to stop the audience getting confused between the 2 vaults, I think we'll see less of Vault 33 in the next episode.
I know I said it was like a poor episode, this episode, but it's still engaging. It's still like you still want to kind of watch it, because there's this overlarging story plot that. There's questions that are unanswered that you kind of like each episode you're finding out more information. The last 2 episodes have been like kind of like a little bit more like you say, like a little side quest of characters, getting to know them more and getting to know what's going inside the vault, and kind of like less action orientated. But that's fine by me. I kind of enjoy.
Stories happen in real life. Thank you for listening to this episode. We will be back with another episode looking at the Fallout TV series.